Let me cross these wires over and see if something happens. Which it may not even fire. So this here is an 81 Trans Am. This thing is a one owner car, special ordered. And it has been sitting since like the early 2000s. 2003 to be exact. Been sitting for that long. And where was it at? Was it at their house?
Yeah.
Was it at their house? Just waiting to be revived one day. Oh, is it a 4-speed?
It is.
I had no idea it was a 4-speed. 4-speed. It's got the power windows. That power locks too. T-tops. You got all the great options. Very original car. Mileage shows 7,000. It's probably 107,000 been rolled over. But everything is all there and intact. But our goal is we're trying to help get this thing to run just to see if the engine's okay. It hasn't been running it's been off the road since '03, so it's been at least 17 years that we know of. But we're going to try and get this engine to run, put a hot battery in it real quick, get fuel to it, and check a couple things on it. The starter wire is disconnected. It's been chewed in half. But we're going to try and make this thing run real quick. So first we need to jack it up, reconnect that wire, and see if it'll turn over by a key. Yeah, I didn't know it was a 4-speed. That's awesome.
I forgot to mention that.
that makes it even better. Cause I was like, this thing's gonna be automatic, and it's gonna be the transmission's gonna be shot. But no, if it's a 4-speed, that'll be really cool. Close enough. Might be hard to see.
Oh yeah, they're in 2 pieces.
It's in 2 pieces.
Yeah. 2 of them.
While he's checking that, I'm going to check and make sure we have oil in the engine itself. Dipstick's over here. And looks good. It's full. So that's a good sign at least. Doesn't smell like gas, so that's another good sign. Apparently this engine had 300 miles on it before it got shut down. I don't know why it was parked. Do we know why it was parked?
Shifting issue.
Oh, okay. So that transmission might come back to bite us then. But anyway, the engine's supposed to be good. It's not the original engine, and I'm not very well versed in the GM world, but I just know that it supposedly is not the original engine. I know that's a it's a Quadrajet. I'm trying to talk about Chryslers here, but yeah. Drew's already you said you put a cap on it and then plug wires already, but he has not attempted to turn it over because of that wire issue. So we got a hot battery in there as well. And once he gets that done, I'm excited to see if this thing can actually spin over. Because if that's the case, it's going to make our lives a heck of a lot easier. So I just made the most rigged way of hooking up a battery cable or to the starter for the power wire, and it's terrible, so it's probably going to burn down. We're going to hope not. Do we have anything to like put a fire out?
Yeah, I got at least 2 fire extinguishers.
Okay, good. I just made the problem is that the power wire for the starter is actually chewed in half. So I took a jumper wire and just twisted the ends together on each end. So it's really not that great. I'd show you, but there's no space in there either. So really hard to see. So I'm hoping that this thing doesn't blow up when we try it. But this is a brand new battery. Somebody's rigged up a new battery cable for us. So that makes things a lot easier. So Drew's got the fire extinguisher. We'll hook up both cables and see if it'll at least bump over. That's the door buzzer. Yeah, listen.
I guess that's a good thing.
That's pretty cool. That still works. I bet the dome light works too. Set it on there. Let me see if it comes on. No lights inside, but we do have a buzzer. We'll just bump it and see if anything happens at all. Nothing at all. So I reconfigured our wiring. Show them what we did, Drew. So I got power. We have power to the battery, and now when we cross this little wire over here, that sounds so weak. That is an awful starter sound, but it spins over. So now we can at least maybe we can check for power to the plugs. Let's do that just to make sure we're taking all the guesswork out of it. So we'll pull a plug out and then spin it over and see if there's power getting to it. All right, Drew's gonna hold that spark plug there, and I'm gonna cross these wires. Fingers crossed that this thing actually does have spark.
Ready?
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
We good?
Got spark.
Perfect.
That one was orange.
Okay. Take that gas and then we'll pour just a little bit in the primaries. You're going legit. I take the can and just dump it in there.
I don't trust myself. I have gas everywhere.
Got the car on fire for a while.
That's good for clean it out.
I don't know.
I hate those. They're so annoying.
I bought one of them fancy ones from Royal King.
Yeah.
They're junk too.
Are they?
I hate them. To pour gas in, you gotta be like way up here because that neck's this long.
Yeah. Just wish you could. You can't just pour gas anymore. It's not easy.
Alright, I ain't never.
Pour a little bit in there. I like to feel a whole lot.
Just in there?
Yeah. A little more. You won't hurt it. It's probably good enough to see a little fire. So the check to see if the key is on.
So then we get the gas.
Alright, I'm gonna cross the starter over and we'll see if something happens. Again. You gotta be kidding me.
Hold on. Hold on. Play with it.
I don't know. It's just like I lost a good connection down there at the starter. Let me see. I'll tell you what, let me just roll back up under there and try and reconnect it again. Because that's what fixed it. I unconnected it and then reconnected it. So, key is in on position.
Yep.
If you can put that battery cable on. Let me cross these wires over and see if something happens. Which it may not even fire. Hey! It did.
Like it ain't even stuff.
It blew a hole out of the muffler, did it?
See, well, I was waiting on fire.
Yeah, I'm waiting for it to go up in flames.
Not because of fuel.
That wasn't bad.
No, it didn't. I'm surprised they did it that easy.
Well, if that's the worst that we have to do to make this thing run, then let's see if we can make it idle at least. We'll hook up that because I can get out of there pretty quick. Let's hook up our fuel jug and then get actual good fuel going to it. I don't know what's going on with this car, so whenever I actually cross the wires and I'm sending power to the starter, it'll work. So that's why I'm having to crawl into the car. So I thought maybe let's try to be a little safer and run a jumper wire. That's why I have my wires sitting up here. I had it running the power, and what I was doing, I twisted it down at the starter, twisted the two wires together, and then just sent power to the battery. It worked. Every time we tested it, it would work. As soon as we go to start it, we turn the key over, it quit working. And now all it'll do is just spark. No idea why. The starter still works. That's why I had to crawl under it to actually make it fire. But what we're going to do is fill up our gas jug and actually hook it up to our quadrajet here, get it full of fuel into the bowl, and maybe it'll idle. It fired up and ran, so I'm pretty hopeful at that point. But I don't know what's going on with the starter. I know the comments are going to blow up telling me that I'm being stupidly dangerous. I got to agree with you. So anyway, it runs at least. I'm going to disconnect our fuel line. We had already disconnected our fuel pump, and it does work. We found that out the hard way. Is that oh, that's a Phillips. Yeah, give me a Phillips.
You want a small one or?
That'll work. And we found that out the hard way because our fuel pump started dripping. There's no hose clamps on this thing. Is that normal? Is that a GM thing?
Not that I know
Or
of.
I've never seen that before where there's 0 hose clamps anywhere. I was able to just pull the hose off of the pump itself.
How's it going?
Just trying.
Here.
Or I'm not trying hard enough, I guess. Yeah, there we go. That's the ticket right there. I love these things.
Mm-hmm. I got a big one for radiator hoses. I think it's in my other box.
There we go. There we go. Rig this up. There's no flare on the end of that. I think they might replace that line there going to the
Oh yeah.
pump. Grab a flathead real quick. Said I could. There we go. Yeah, I pulled this off my Maverick before I come over here because I got it to run. But we know that the fuel pump works, so you can use it at least. Just rig it up to like an external tank and then run the fuel pump. You'll have to do something with the return.
Oh, you talking about the center unit tank?
No, the fuel pump down here.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
It actually works, so you can use it. You'll just have to figure out what to do with the return.
Will I not? What about the electronic fuel pump?
You'd bypass that.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
what I
you
was thinking.
bypass it altogether. You can get a block off. It's not expensive. You guys know the deal. We've got our electric tank running in here. Got our inline filter, fuel pump running right into our quadrajet. So now once we send power to it, we should hear, the bowl should be dry, I would assume. So there's our ground. And we should hear the fuel pump engage. Once it gets quiet like that, that means our bowls are full. So we will shut it off just for right now, just for the testing purposes of it all. So if it does catch fire, it'll at least run out of fuel. But here we go. We'll see if it'll idle. All right, here comes the danger. Is the key, we have the key on. And we got power to the cable. Key is on. Out here, let me pump the throttle a couple times.
Power's still off the ground.
Oh, we got accelerator pump. No way. That's like something you don't ever see. That's pretty wild, and it's not even leaking either.
What are you talking about?
The accelerator pump, whenever I hit the throttle, it's squirting gas. And it actually works and isn't leaking. So that's a good sign. We might be able to actually hear it idle and rev up a little bit. All right. Wish me luck. Hey, come back here and look at what shot out of the mufflers. Sounds pretty good. Lifters are a little noisy, but might have a piece of trash in it or something. You want to see if it'll go in gear? Has it got, yeah. Put it down in gear and see if something happens. I don't want to go in gear.
I ain't gonna try it. I got no brake pedal.
Oh, no brake pedal? Does it go to the floor?
Yeah.
Oh. At least it's not stuck.
Yeah. It
didn't go to the floor on the equipment sitting on the ground.
Hey, cut it off before we get it too hot. That's pretty awesome.
That was.
I'm surprised that it idled like that. That's hard to like actually do, and especially not have any. Well, we got a
Connected to it.
leak right here. Is that the
I
term?
think that was some of this stuff.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're
My
right.
hose. I seen it earlier and I was looking, it was dripping out of that old hose.
Yeah. Well, we can. Do you want to try and drive it, or do you want to wait?
It don't matter. Whatever you think. We can try it just to see what happens. I don't know how you get under there.
I don't either. That's gonna be.
I'll have to go get some water.
Yeah.
That's whatever you want to do.
We might wait until we can try and rig up something better, as far as like starting it. It'll fix those wires one,
Yeah.
and then once we do that, then we can. That way we can start it and shut it off. If something were to happen to it and we shut it off way out there in the middle of the field, we want to crawl up under it to start it again. But it's okay just for testing purposes at least. Dang, that was easy. It was one of the easier ones I've had to do. So we've got these fancy little power window switches here. I'm going to try and see if this one will go down. Oop. That's all I'm doing. We'll try the other side. I'm not going any further, but they at least work. That's pretty cool. It's been a couple months since we last talked to Drew with the Trans Am, and since then he's done quite a lot of work to it. He's actually replaced all the fuel lines, fixed all the brakes on it, and I went over one time since then and figured out that we were both working on it and got it to actually turn over with a key. Turns out that the ignition switch on the column was bad, so we fixed that, got it adjusted properly, and he's got the steering wheel back all together, and now hopefully we can drive this thing out of the shop. He's set it up and waited for us to get there, and this may be the fateful day finally. I brought the Challenger over for a little inspiration for him because I thought he'd like to see it. So what we're gonna do is set these two side by side and get a really cool picture. But anyway, I'm excited to see what this thing can do. He said it's got good oil pressure and everything's running all right. And there she is, Trans Am. Drew's been working hard on her. We've got brand new spark plugs, plug wires, oil change under the hood, full of antifreeze, hot battery, and you can see over here we've got a brand new master cylinder. All the brakes are good on this thing. We've got an oil pressure gauge to make sure she's healthy. We'll check that once it starts running. What else? You've put a new fuel tank in it too. Let's take a look at that. The whole purpose of this is going to EFI. Going to go for a Phytech EFI. You did 3/8 supply, 3/8 return. And on the inside, the whole issue that we were having, if you remember earlier, we were having an issue where I had to cross the wires out of the starter. Turns out it just ended up being that ignition switch on the top of the column. And when we changed it, properly adjusted it, everything actually works. And now you can start it with a key. So, Drew, if you want to do the honors, we're going to see if this thing will actually go and move at this point. He had it idling earlier, so it's warm, but that's good oil pressure right there. That's probably like 35 PSI warm. Yeah, it did get a lot quieter. Yeah. It's really quiet now.
The first time I started it was cold, and you can tell it was gone. Or wasn't gone, it still got a little bit.
It sounds pretty rowdy out back. Drop her in gear, see how this thing goes. Hey. That's one brake light, that's all we need.
It looks good outside, don't it? Man. It's hard to beat this body style Trans Am. It's kind of nerve-wracking, I'm not gonna lie. I'm so excited to see if this thing can drive. We've got first gear and brakes. All right. Oh, I can't wait. Clutch a little chattery.
Yeah. That's probably what it is. It's got to move it in there. Just take that time to put it on.
Yeah, Drew's got a brand new clutch for this thing. Let's be cutting donuts in this field here soon, won't it?
Probably could right now. I might not like it.
That second gear?
Yes.
Look at that. How are the brakes?
It's very sketchy.
Very sketchy. That's third gear right there.
Yeah,
We got any speedometer?
no.
We don't need to know. That's fine. It's all about the glamour shots.
Pretty sure the temp gauge works. I'm not 100%.
Is it running hot?
No. It ain't been over to where it's at right now. I'm sure that's what it is.
That's fourth gear right there. Drives pretty good.
It really does.
Wow. I'm just amazed that this thing sat for 18 years in that Quadrajet. It's not stumbling, it's not breaking up, no issues at all. That's actually impressive. Oh yeah, it's a little peppy.
It is. Not bad.
Probably the biggest hood hinges I've ever seen in my life.
They're very stout. I'm
Like
scared to put the hood back on it, honestly. It's kind of pretty worn out.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to fold it.
You got any kind of heater?
No.
Nothing at all?
No.
I'm scared to touch it.
I've done that everywhere. It moves, it just doesn't cut out.
I think this is the first time I've ridden in a Trans Am.
Me too.
I've never ridden in one. Got the T-tops whistling. That's how you know you're doing it right. I get why people like these things though. They're pretty easy to find with the 4-speed in it. I've seen a lot of these cars ever since you started working on this thing. Yeah. You can hear that Quadrajet moan. Runs pretty awesome to sit that long.
Shocks me.
charging alternator. That's a good sign.
Yeah, it's charging at 15.
Maybe it won't leave us stranded. No fuel gauge. We don't need that though.
I think we do. It's only got 5 gallons. I had 5 gallons in it, so I got all this in it.
Look at that. We got a tag. I didn't realize that. I don't think I've had one run this smooth and sit that long.
Really?
No. I guess I should start working on Pontiacs. This thing just took all that abuse. Now it's looking like a proper Trans Am. Got mud on dirt all over it. Yes. Look at that. This thing is awesome. I want a Trans Am so bad now. Well, that's a wrap on the 81 Trans Am. We've had a lot of good luck with this one. This is a rare one where you actually can take it out and have some fun immediately. Drew did a lot of good work on this thing, and he's going to continue to do good work for it. What they're going to do now is actually take this thing to the body shop and completely repaint everything, and then Drew's going to bring it back here, finish out the brakes, and then run that new findeth system. So it's pretty much set up and ready to go. But Drew's going to have some more fun with it in the meantime. So if you like this video, please leave a like down below. If you have a question for me, feel free to leave a comment. Order your t-shirts and your stickers. And hopefully if you guys stick around, we can do a lot more stuff like this. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one.